Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Happy Thursday. I'm so excited to be on Fort Worth Opera Instagram. My name is Jennifer Rowley at La Rowley1 on Instagram if you do not follow me yet. And I am here today to have a fantastic chat with Lucas and Irina Meachem. We are going to talk about balancing career and life and family, and I'm so excited to have them with us. So I am just waiting for Lucas and Irina to join, and then we're going to get started. So happy to have them. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Lucas is here. Here we go. Going live, going live. Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. Hope you're having a good day. All right, we're connected. There they are. Hi, guys.
Hey.
How's it going?
Great. Good
Gosh,
to
look
see
at
you.
your cute little house back there. I love it.
Thanks. You see our ring light is making multiple beautiful reflections.
Guys, thank you so much. Oh, and your hair looks fabulous, too. Wow, when did you go so light?
Sure.
It was mine.
Always hers.
It's gorgeous. I love it. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here with me today. I get so many questions all the time, and we've had some questions actually on our Zoom masterclasses on Saturdays with Fort Worth Opera about balancing life and family and having a big career. And I just thought of you guys first because you do it so well. And you always seem like you're so happy together and your relationship is so beautiful. And your son, oh my God, that baby doll. Oh, adore him.
I know.
That face.
That
face is
face.
because of this face.
That face. Oh my God. So thank you guys so much for being here.
Thanks, Jen, for those nice things. It's nice to hear like what the outside perspective is, because like we get so caught up in every day of little things, but the truth is we are super happy, and like we like Lucas and I feel so connected and super strong.
So connected that we can even
you're so cute. You guys are great.
I love you.
I love what you guys are doing on social media, and thank you for posting Cash's first birthday picture.
Yes.
Oh,
so cute.
That cake he ate was the size of his head. It was incredible.
Did you do the smash?
He smashed it on his own.
He had. There was
he
lots
knew
of
exactly
smashing.
what to do.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it. Well, let's get started. I wanted to ask you guys first about how you met each other and sort of where you were both in your careers when you met, because we know that a lot of people meet in this career out in the job, right? Or in a lesson or in a rehearsal or wherever. And so I wanted you guys to tell all of our guests and the people who will watch this back on IGTV how you met and where you were in your careers and kind of how you made the decision to sort of make your family as it is today.
Well, that's like the best story ever. It's my favorite subject. So we met at work, and I was playing rehearsals. Lucas was singing Barber of Seville at Mill City Summer Opera in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I was a staff pianist, and I was working my way through young artist programs, and I had no intention to get married before. Like I was super set up with my career. I was like, I have to do so much before I even think about
Head of music, Metropolitan Opera. It was that or bust.
That or bust. But I was really focused, and I didn't have room for anybody in my life. And I met Lucas, and that all changed. Like he really changed my way of thinking. And it just goes to show how important it is to meet the right person at the right time.
Yes,
yeah.
Right.
So he came in and he changed my whole idea of what it is to be in a relationship. And we were super into each other. We didn't start dating until a year after we met. And then we officially were a couple like months after that. So it took a long time. Even though like there was a lot of, yeah. So there's a lot of attraction. And he was off doing his own thing. You were singing all over. You were like at Royal Opera House, and then you were at the Met, and you were let me think where else you were at that time. I mean,
Vienna.
Yeah, he was everywhere. So we were at very different levels. And he's 10 years older than me. And that's a really big, important issue, is that we felt like we were at the same level in terms of our emotional place and in terms of what we wanted from a relationship, even though he was at a different level in his career than I was. Like, we agreed on so many things, and career and everything else. We're like, we can make the career adjust to our love.
Oh, I love that. That's fabulous. I love that.
Yeah, and from the well, my perspective, it was very there was a lot of patience involved, because I got married at 38 years old. You know, first marriage. This is my first and only marriage, and
for sure.
And well, basically, it's just every relationship I was in. I mean, I've been in love. I've had very serious girlfriends, and they're all good people, and they're great for someone. And every time I got out of those relationships, though, it made me realize what I was missing from relationships in general. Like, I learned what else I wanted. So it sort of showed me what I needed in a partner. And then when I met Irina, all the boxes all of a sudden were checked. Every box of something I needed or thought or needed in relationships that I'd learned through other relationships, those boxes became checked. And even more boxes that I even knew could be checked became checked. So she actually filled my cup over. As soon as I realized that, actually a little real inside story, I told her, if you want to be in a relationship with me, you should know I'm not going to marry you. I'm not going to get married. I don't believe in marriage. About how many?
6 weeks later.
6 weeks later, I asked her to marry me. So, yeah, exactly. By the way, hey, Eliana and Samuel, good to see you. Hope you're doing well too.
So when did you decide, and how did you decide that your relationship was gonna work? Because, you know, you both were in, like you said, different places. Lucas was traveling around everywhere, and Irina, you were based at one place. So how did you decide to make that change and take that plunge where you guys were gonna be together all the time?
I'll let you take this, because I know you were the one that made the most sacrifices.
Well, just think, yeah, you're right, because like I was working after that at Palm Beach Opera, and I was working as a young artist, and I had a contract there, and I was dedicating my entire life to making sure my career went a certain way. So when he came into the picture, everything changed. And it's just everything changed, because I finally found something that I wanted to invest my time in, and I hadn't met somebody that was willing. I was willing to put aside the music books for an hour or so. Like, I was such a dork about it in the sweetest way. You know, I was a professional about it.
She's very professional.
But you just know in your heart when you find somebody, and the thing is, he understood me and what I needed to do what I love, and I totally understand him, because I've worked with so many singers before having met him. So I understood what the career entails. Yes, yeah, I know. And it was like training.
Do you want to talk a little bit also about what you really loved about the career and what you didn't love about it?
Yeah, I love,
because that also informed your decision about, like, whether, because at the end of the day, Irina had to make the decision of whether or not to continue doing what she did and have a long distance relationship, or to stop her work, her passion, her art, and go around with me and travel and experience it sort of through my work, experience it herself, and through being able to perform with me. And that was a big
thing.
What, Jen?
I just should say that.
That was a big those were two big points in the road, where one road went one way and the other went the other way, and Irina had to make that decision. So
and
love to hear about that.
And you're asking, like, how did I know that? And it's like, you never know. Even in the moment, you might like have it in your heart that this is the right person, and sometimes it doesn't always go that way, but you have to listen to your heart and go with what you're feeling in the moment. Like, that's to me what the crux of life is listening to yourself, to your body, to your heart, and listening to these outside feelings. And when you find someone, you just can't ignore it, and you have to take that chance. And we took a big risk you know?
Yeah. Irina sacrificed so much for our relationship. And I mean, I remember when we were talking about it, Irina, she sort of came up with a list, like a pros and cons list of things that she really loved about working for an opera company and what she didn't love. And do you mind if I tell them what it seemed like you didn't love as much?
Please. All about
Would you like to say that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was very hard to be a staff pianist, because
it is very hard.
It is very hard. You dedicate a lot of time. You are one of the hardest. You are one of the hardest working people in an opera house. You're constantly there, and you're only noticed when you make a mistake.
Yeah,
you know.
So true.
So I was personally fulfilled. But then there were times where I'd have like 3-hour rehearsals and I would play 5 minutes, and I would think I could be
underappreciated.
I could be with Lucas right now, traveling the world. And,
of course.
And so I know. Yeah, it was really hard. So he and I talked about it at length, and we decided together that what will fit us the best is that if we're together as much as possible.
Wonderful.
So we've that's
what we do. So as of today, we travel the world together. Every gig I'm at, she's at. Well, we had a son. So we're kind of rewriting the rules.
Let's get there.
Yes, his name is Cash, if you don't know, and we are kind of rewriting the rules as we go for him. We I had my first escamillo in Carmen in Torino, Italy, and so we had bought tickets for all of us to go, paid for the baby thing, got the seats in the premium economy with the bassinet and everything, and
lots of preparation.
And then sort of a week before, we realized his sleep schedule was so important that we didn't want to mess with that, and we thought we'd actually be taking more away from him than we'd be giving him. And so Irina decided to stay at home. I went. It was a 22-day gig.
It was a 3-week gig, not a month and a half long gig. So
and so I went and did it by myself, and that was the first time we didn't travel together to a gig since we.
Well, no, when I was pregnant, I was not.
Oh, that's right,
8
Bilbao.
months pregnant.
Bilbao,
for like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
that's right. You remember, Jen? Yeah,
that was so scary. I was so stressed.
Well, I literally we landed. We were coming from Toronto, finishing up La Boheme in Toronto at the COC. Landed in Minneapolis at home, and my agent called as we were taxiing. I was like, "Can I even pick this up?" I picked up, and he said, "You need to get on a plane and go to Bilbao now." It was a Monday.
No, he said, "Talk about it with your wife."
Oh, yeah, okay, of course.
See if it's okay with her.
Yeah, of course. Are you interested in this? And talk with Irina. If you are, you have to turn around and go back to Bilbao, basically.
Wow.
And so the show opened that Friday. He called. He was talking to me on Monday, and he said, basically, I went home. I unpacked.
I packed, and I remember as I was packing, I was crying.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's going away, but this is so important. I hope I don't go into labor.
And so the gig was through May 27th, and the 28th I would fly home. And her due date was June 2nd. And every doctor we spoke to said, first babies never come early. Yeah. They never come early, you know? And so we went, we decided I'd go. And so I went, and every day I'm like checking flights, making sure I can get home. Like, what's the easiest way home? And the quickest I could ever get home from Bilbao, which is not Madrid, you know, with a major airport, it's Bilbao. So it's a little smaller airport, 15 hours. And I had that down. I was like, this is what I do. This is how I do it. So on the 27th, the last show, I sang it and was like, I'm going to make it in time for my son's birth. And so the 28th, I show up back in the United States, and I'm like, okay, I'm totally jet lagged. 29th, I'm at a climbing gym, and her water breaks and goes into labor on the 30th.
The day after he got back.
So 2 days after I got back.
So lucky. So lucky. Oh my gosh. Guys, your son is amazing. Yeah. I want to venture back a little bit, back to when you made that choice to start traveling together, and talk about just how your relationship functioned differently then than it does now. So for, you know, my husband and I, obviously you guys know Ray, we have certain things that
very well.
we have certain things that we do that work for us that we, try to make sure we maintain all the time. We have dates, we have, this and that, because he doesn't travel with me all the time. And, we need to make sure we keep our relationship fresh and communicate and all of those things. But you guys have a very different situation where you get to be together all the time. So what sort of, when you kind of made your list, so to speak, of the pros of going this everywhere, what of those things did you make sure you kept and really adhered to, and said, life is not just going to be about Lucas performing, it's going to be about both of us together, and we need to make sure we communicate for our relationship, and then eventually make music together, because I know you guys do that a lot. So can you talk about how the relationship sort of grew as you were able to travel together when that first started? Because I know a lot of people are doing that with a significant other.
Yeah, we didn't have many conversations beforehand. We kind of just learned as we went, because the love and the trust and the respect was there. But when we were long distance, we were always on FaceTime.
Yeah.
Like we were glued to our phones.
Yes, thank God.
Yeah, and that's how we liked it, and we admit it to each other, like we're really needy and we like to be in touch. We're just also at the beginning of the relationship, so we're super like crazy in love.
I'll tell you a quick story. I was singing The Ghost of Versailles at LA Opera, and I was flying on, like, we'd have a Sunday off. Saturday afternoon, I would be on a flight to Florida from LA. Like, it was Spirit Air, and I'd buy the very first seat in the plane so I could be first one off, first one on, first one on, first one off. And I'd fly to Palm Beach, get there, hang out with her, and then take the red-eye Sunday back. And when she had a day off, she'd do that to me. I mean, we were just crazy in love, trying to
it felt
make
so
it
right.
work. And it did feel right. It was worth everything.
And I don't regret any of it. But then I realized we were spending more money.
It's important that you guys communicated to each other. We're both super needy, and so we need to see each other. We need to have FaceTime every day. We need to text each other 50 times. You communicate that, and that's important. And I think a lot of relationships stumble because one person is afraid to communicate that, or they don't communicate it effectively, and so then the relationship trips, and then it's hard to sort of pick it back up when you're trying to sort of figure out what each other needs. But really, you should just be open and honest about it, like you guys did, and say, hey, I need this. This is what we need to do in order to get together. Right?
Yeah. Well, Jen, there's actually a step even before that, which is learning what you need as a person. And that takes time, And so if I even back up even before, I met Irina, my career was number one. That is what I focused on. And so in a way, there wasn't room for a serious marriage type relationship because I was so focused on my career. Any opportunity I had, I said, sorry, I'm dropped. Like I'm with my family in Costa Rica. Opportunity comes up, I got to go. I'm going right now, and I literally get off the plane in Miami, they go back to where they're going, and I go to the gig, Any opportunity, I always took the opportunity, I always took the job over anything, and no person would get in the way of my career until I've gotten to a point in my career where I'm able to say no. And I'm able to, and that's taken a long, long time. I'm able not only to say no, but also to support the lifestyle that I know will make me happiest, which is having Irina with me all the time. And again, I'm honest with myself about that. You have to be honest. And hey, McBee just joined. He's a friend. Anyway, you have to be honest with yourself, about what you need. Because if you're not getting what you need, like if you have a list of like 3 things you need in a relationship, you have to get those things, or it's just not going to ever make you happy or fulfill you. And so that's the thing most important. You learn what you need yourself and be honest with yourself about it.
That's awesome, Lucas. Thank you. So guys, talk to me about making music together. I know that you do that. And Irina, do you coach Lucas? Do you learn your roles, Lucas, with Irina? Like, do you have like a live-in repetiteur and coach? And am I so jealous right now?
Oh, no.
I do. I have a live-in psychiatrist, master chef, babysitter / best friend ever.
Yeah, we do. We make music a lot. It's just part of our relationship. It's one thing that brings us even closer. We connect that way.
We had to learn that.
We had to learn how.
There
to
was a real learning curve about how to communicate as artists, individuals who are also in a relationship. That was really difficult.
Yeah, to get the right tone.
Yes.
Between the two of us, like how are you?
I had me.
Yeah.
I had
How
to get
are
the
we
right
going to
tone.
give feedback to each other?
She's saying we, and it's very sweet of her, but it's this guy. I had to learn how to be just more gentle in my tone instead of being like, no, go back 2 pages. Measure 32. What are you doing? Come on, let's go. I'm ready. Or like, not that, I guess that sounded so mean. I'm never mean.
No,
I just,
how you feel. I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, like he knows how he learns music, and he's not impatient, but like you're just very determined to do things as fast as possible, as efficient as possible.
Efficiency. I'm big on efficiency in the coaching studio. Yeah.
So to communicate, like it just takes that little extra time, but it makes a big difference. But Lucas still learns all of the notes on his own. Like he does that. He does all of his own translations, and I learn the score. I learn all the other parts, and I sing those around him. I know his part, and so he learns music really fast, though. Like he learns a roll in a few days. Wow! So I have to be super prepared when I meet with him for the first time. Like I have to know my stuff.
Every once in a while, I'll learn more than she's actually rehearsed, and I'm like, all right, ready to move forward.
Amazing.
So yeah, but it's amazing. It's a real treat. Like I was called on 5 days' notice to step in and sing A Quiet Place by Bernstein with the Orchestra Symphonique de Montréal, and we were in Dresden at the time. I was singing Don Giovanni, and we had to fly back to home and then fly straight to Montreal. And in that time, like we flew through Amsterdam, we had to practice in Dresden, we had to practice in Amsterdam when we landed, get a practice room, and I could never have done that if Irina wasn't with me every second of the way, working on the same music.
Then I played some rehearsals.
And then she even got there and played some rehearsals because she knew the music. Because it was, I don't know. It's just, you never know what's going to happen. So you have to be just as prepared as possible. You know, Jen, I mean, opportunities fall out of the sky, it seems like sometimes. And
the stories where Ray and I were on our trip for our first anniversary. We landed in Vegas, and 3 hours later, my managers called and said, hey, you got to go to Paris. Here he is. Hi, Ray.
Ray, hey. All right, everybody. Ray and I, never mind. I can't even tell you how long Ray and I go back together because it really ages us. But I'll just say Ray and I were together in the same summer program in Central City a few years ago.
Back in the day. But anyway, yeah, we were in Vegas celebrating our first anniversary. And my managers were blowing up my phone the minute we landed and said, hey, they need you in Paris to go sing Leonora. And so guess what we did? We left our first anniversary trip and we flew back to Detroit, and we went to our house and we changed suitcases. And then I went back to the airport and got on a plane. It was crazy. So you have to do it. But thankfully, we both have very understanding partners. Thank you, Ray, that help us.
And partners that know the business. That can be important. It's not necessary, but it definitely helps when you have to explain why you have to miss your kids' play or miss a trip to Vegas or whatever it is. It definitely helps to have someone that really understands the artist's perspective.
100%. Let's also talk about your social media, because do you guys work together on your social media as well? I feel like you are just...
Irina is my social media manager.
She's the boss lady, right? Mm-hmm. I love it.
She's the queen.
Irina, and
absolute queen.
Sort of keep his PR going and social media and all of that, because I think that's an awesome kind of side of the business that a partner could take on and help with, even if they aren't musical, something like that. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I also help Lucas with just general like image consultation things. Like when he gives interviews, I'm there sometimes to listen, and we talk about just like being concise when he speaks. And it's like these things that you don't learn about in school. Nobody tells you how to do an interview, how to be engaging on social media, how to speak to people through social media. I mean, it's a lot. And so I'm just kind of like that outside voice, and I just give him some feedback. He takes it so well. And that's the only way that this could work.
It's so
Yeah,
helpful.
he takes it really well. He's so good with constructive criticism.
I'm sure it's so helpful. I mean, to have somebody from the outside looking in when you're having an interview and to say, hey, next time,
Yeah.
maybe direct the conversation this way, you know, give more eye contact. That's awesome. We don't do that thing.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic that you're,
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
And every interview you do is an opportunity to learn how to do interviews better. I just today, an hour and a half ago, I did an interview with the BBC.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, it was good, not great. And I took notes on it, and I know exactly what I can do better next time.
Yeah.
And so it's,
I thought it was really good.
okay,
I
well,
thought it was
thank you. I'm very hard on myself too, because I want to always do better. I want to strive to do better in everything I do.
And everything I tell him is from a place of love. Like it's never nitpicky or anything, and I know when to tell him these things. But we work together on all of his social media posts. We collaborate. He has a lot of ideas. I have ideas, and we work together, and it's always genuine. Like it's always something that he really believes in, and he signs off on every post.
Whose idea was
It also comes down to trust.
I'm dying to know about that.
What, Jen? Sorry.
Whose idea was the balcony concert that you guys did? Because that was so great.
That was both of ours.
Yeah.
That was both,
We were bored to tears. We were like, we have to do something.
You guys were trendsetters.
Yeah.
You really were. And now everyone's doing them. Porch concerts, outside contract. I mean, you started it. You really did. And your hand wash.
Yeah. We also did I'm proud too. So we were in Dallas when COVID hit. I want to hit on the porch concert too. But even before that, when we were in Dallas, COVID hit. I called the management the day after they canceled and said, I'm going to do a recital and we're going to live stream it. Would you like to be a part of this? And we were the first live stream recital as well. Not that wouldn't have happened anyway, but and it's not that I wanted to set a trend. It's that I wanted to tell people it's going to be okay. We can still perform music, and here's a way how.
I think it's not about setting a trend. It's just inspiring people to do these things themselves. Like if a lot of people end up doing it, that's such a great outcome. Yeah,
and it's funny. It's like a snake eating its tail, or a chicken or the egg thing, where it's exciting, so it becomes trendworthy, and because it's trendworthy, it is exciting, and it's like, you know, it's I don't know. It can't have one without the other almost.
I applaud you guys for what you're doing together for social media, because it looks great. It's fun. It's fantastic and fun to follow. I loved the hand washing videos and everybody that got in on that. You guys really have been so creative. So really, I applaud you. Like, Ray and I are following. We're watching everything. We did our own homage to Lucas's hand washing video.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. We saw that.
Yeah, and then all your cooking things and the Tosca episodes. Yeah, it's like having fun, but it's so hard now to, like, as a public figure, to keep that momentum going.
It is.
To keep the happiness, the positivity. You know, at times Lucas and I do feel really, really down. And we're going to post about that. Like, it's okay to have those negative emotions, and we all are.
Yeah.
That needs to be said too, and especially for a man, like, who's going to be vulnerable like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of fighting with toxic masculinity, you know, that's sort of embedded in a lot of men of my generation and maybe one under that's just, it's hard to open up about how you feel about things. It's hard to admit to yourself that you're having a tough time, you know? And I'm sort of there right now. It's like I'm in the middle of accepting that I'm having a hard time, then feeling guilty because other people are having it worse than me. And I've come to the realization that I have to accept both the positive and the negative things that are happening in my life without having one cancel the other out.
That's
they
right.
can both exist together.
I love
and
yes, preach, Lucas.
Oh, thank you. We're in unprecedented times, but the thing that connects us all is the loss of normalcy. Everyone's lost the sense of normalcy in their lives, and we all are striving to get that normalcy back, and it's okay to sort of float a little bit. It's okay to have bad times. It's okay to have good times, but it doesn't define who you are as an artist or as a person, you know?
It's true. And it's okay to have a bad day. It's totally cool to have a day, and don't beat yourself up over that bad day. It's fine. Yeah. Guys, I want to go now forward to your adorable, beautiful little boy, Cash. And I want to talk to you about the possibilities of having and having a major international career, because people ask about this all the time and I am nowhere near an expert on it because I don't have those little ones. And so I really thought that this was something you guys could talk about for those people that they're dying to know. Can you do it? Can you have a baby? Can you have a family? And can you have that career that everyone is dying to have and longing, dreaming about?
Yeah, and the thing is, at any time, like now, Lucas is very established, and we have a lot of things working together. So we have that established in our lives already, our career. So it was a conscious decision when we were going to have children, and we knew it would be hard.
Conscious even before I met Irina. I knew I couldn't achieve what I needed to achieve to successfully raise a child in the way that financially and accomplishment wise I wanted to raise a child. So I want to say, even before we met, I don't have any other children. This is my first child.
Yes, and it would be harder to have a child if we were at the young artist level or the young professional
Not
level.
Impossible. There are people that have done it.
Yes, and I want to say that at any level, it's not impossible, and you have to just want it so badly and be so focused and willing to do whatever it takes to make the time for your children, to hire somebody to be there for your children, as hard as that is.
To leave your children.
Leave your children sometimes.
And I never wanted to do that, again, which is why I waited, but other people might have a different way to do it. I will say this definitively, and I don't want to sound harsh. If you have kids, you still can make it happen. It does make it more difficult, because all of a sudden you're thinking, I have to be away from my kids in order to make this work. And that just weighs on you emotionally and mentally. And they call you, and I have friends, they tell me about, they've really opened up to me about this, where they're on the phone with their children, FaceTiming with them, and they're like, Daddy, I thought you were going to be home tonight. Are you going to tuck me in tonight? You know, they don't understand. And it just eats at the heart of my friends. You know, it is difficult. You give up a lot, you sacrifice a lot, and you already sacrifice so much for this career.
But it is the hardest thing you will ever do, but also the most happiest, wonderful, most gratifying, most rewarding experience we have ever had. And there's nothing like it, but it's also the hardest thing we've ever done.
How have you guys sort of trained him to be around the music? Because I have to imagine that you need to practice, you need to play, you need to sing. He's always around. As we know, the kids are always around. How do you sort of deal with that? You know, he's such an early age, he's only 1. Did you start when he was a baby? Were you singing around him? Did you sing during his nap? I mean, how did you sort of train him to kind of be part of the career with you?
Well, children are so resilient. They're more resilient than we believe, and they adapt very quickly. So we just threw him in to our schedule, to our traveling lifestyle, and they adjust. He has adapted, and there have been very little problems with that. We just don't make it a big deal. Like, this is your life. You have been born into our family, and you're going to adjust around us. Exactly. And he's content.
That's awesome.
And I feel the more calm I feel when we're in stressful travel situations, he feels that. I feel like I dare I say, I feel like the dog whisperer of my child because I try and stay calm and assertive, you know, and that is, look, okay, everybody, I have to tell you, raising a kid, maybe don't quote me, but it's there's a lot of similarities for raising a dog and raising a kid. You can't ever get upset with them because they're just people normally don't say this. Parents won't admit this, but I mean, it's kind of similar. You can't get upset because they don't mean to make mistakes. They just do, and all you can do is show them the way you would like for them to behave in a kind and mannered way.
I think once they get to a certain age,
yeah. Well, at this point, where Cash is, he's 1 year old. Yeah. So they absorb, exactly. Bonnie Joy 1357 says they absorb what they are around them like little sponges. Absolutely, they do. So, I mean, really, so basically we just take him down, we put him down in our music room, and we practice, and he hangs out, we put some toys around, and before he was even born, we had a recital tour of Mahler's, well, I don't even want to, the Kindertotenlieder by Mahler while she was pregnant. Crazy, you know. And so we had a tour of that. So he's been listening to music since before he was born, you know, because he had his own little kangaroo pouch. And,
that's great.
You know, floated around in that.
It's easier than, like, if I were talking to my pre-mama phase, I would say to myself, it's easier than I thought it would be, but also harder in so many other ways.
Yeah.
It's harder for me to be away from him than I thought it would be. I was like, oh yeah, I'll love having a nanny or a babysitter and I can just go off for a day or two. And now I'm like, I can't be away from him because it's so great.
Oh.
But then it's easier in some ways because the sacrifice is just a reflex. It's just so simple and thoughtless almost. Like you're willing to do anything for the baby and it just happens.
Yeah. I will say for the first 2 or 3 months, try not to have a gig. Oh, what?
I love that. Don't have a gig in the first 6 months. That's very smart advice for everyone.
No, first 2 or 3 maybe. Because I mean, it is tough. It is so tough.
I wanted to talk about the gig and how do you plan to travel now with him when we are able to go back to work? I know that you have wonderful, exciting things lined up. What is the plan? What do you know from beginning to end? You plan your flight, you plan your apartment around it. I'm sure you plan your and everything. So for those people watching that may need that type of advice and idea, well, how do you start and what specifically do you look for when you're booking your travel and your apartment now that is probably different than before?
Yeah. Now it's just a lot of preparation. So before it would take maybe a few hours for us to pack for a long trip. Now it's like a day or even 2.
It's
and
days.
Long lists. Like I have a PDF file of everything we need to bring. Yeah. And we don't have an au pair. Some opera singers do, but we hire sitters through care.com. So in the cities we've been to, I hire a new sitter, I interview all of them, and I'm very thorough about it.
Care.com is a great resource.
Oh, great.
And my mom is a great resource. She's a retired school teacher, and she comes and she's been to a lot of cities with us and helped.
Yes.
What, Jen?
No, that's wonderful that your mom can come and help.
Yeah.
Grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we take it one gig at a time too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like a 3-week trip to Italy wasn't worth it for me to fly with Cash and Lucas, but a month and a half in Dallas, like we're supposed to be there for 3 months for sure. We're going to North Carolina for a concert in August that we're doing together, and Cash is for sure coming with us, and then we're going to go to the beach for a week. So something that we really need to do. So when we have the time, we just we take it gig by gig.
We could get to the nitty gritty though, because people are wondering. We have a travel crib that we travel with. I'm very high status, so we both get 3 bags up to 70 pounds, which is
awesome.
Really helpful. Yeah, and you can check for free a car seat and a stroller, and so I always lie and say that the travel crib is a stroller because it packs up just looks the same. And in any case, our first gig with Cash was in San Francisco.
Okay.
We brought, was it 9 bags?
Yes.
9 bags with us.
Don't judge us. People.
Don't judge. But we brought so much stuff. Yeah. It was crazy. So, but I mean, we're also starting to tamp it down a little bit, and we're figuring and he changes so much. He needs different things at different times. And so
the first year, it's like he's a different baby the first 6 months, he was a different baby every week. And then after 6 months, he was a different baby every 3 weeks or so.
Oh, wow.
So he's changing a lot. Yeah. So he's just going to adapt.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. That's fabulous. I actually a couple of other singers who have done that with their children, that they just start them early and they leave the door open during nap time and they practice in the other room just to get them to adapt to all of the noise being around and sleep through, or they let them sleep in rest.
White noise machines.
White noise machines are where it's at.
Yeah, and I think it's an amazing thing that you guys have just been like, you know what, welcome into our lives. We're not going to adapt to you. You're going to adapt into us, and we're all harmoniously and wonderfully.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Actually, Jen, he's asleep in his travel crib right now. So
I
we
love it.
wanted to give him the same bed everywhere he goes.
Mhm.
And so we got a really nice travel crib so that he'd be comfortable. It's got extra nice padding and
Fabulous.
so he sleeps in that. He doesn't have a crib here that's his home crib and then a crib to travel with.
Fun.
So that he has continuity.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing for us is we want to give him as much continuity throughout this crazy lifestyle as possible.
Mhm.
His nap times need to stay the same. His sleep time stays the same. So we have a very strict schedule with him just so we can give him what he needs everywhere we go.
That's awesome. Well, guys, I want to wrap it up in the last couple of minutes and invite anyone that is on with us now to ask any questions they'd like to in the chat. But my final question would be, what advice can you give to young singers who really want to have the career and they also really want to have a family? What would be like your top 2 pieces of advice that you really feel that young singers should know?
Absolutely know yourself and know what your limits are, know what your priorities are, know what your dreams are, and know your partner's dreams, priorities, limits, and know as much as you can about each other. And that's the first piece of advice, as in find yourself and find the right person. And then as long as you want it, if somebody wants something so badly, you're willing to do anything for it. Mm-hmm. And that things can work out the more that you are focused. And it's a lot of work, but it's worth it. And to each their own, it's possible for sure.
Absolutely. Lucas, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I'd say it's hard to have 2 extreme passions in your life. You know, and so I'm finding I found that to be difficult. Yeah, and in this moment, Irina is actually going to wake him up. Speaking of his schedule, in 2 minutes we wake him up. So maybe he might make an appearance if he's not too groggy and cranky. So what, Jen? Sorry.
Maybe a little cameo from Mr. Cash.
I'm thinking there might be one. So again, like I said earlier, it's not impossible to have a career with children. It just makes it a lot more difficult. And so I'd say that if there's not a rush, if you know, for some women, it becomes more difficult to have a child safely at a certain age. If there's not a rush, I'd say you could put it off a little bit to see how the career goes and see, because you have to really, like I've said, an operating career is hard enough without bringing a family and children into the mix. It's already incredibly difficult, and there's no guarantee, you know? So you throw that into the mix too, and it just becomes so difficult you start thinking, well, maybe I won't take that gig, but take this gig, when in actuality, an opportunity would come if you took the gig that you ended up not doing. So you kind of have to say yes to everything in the beginning. And because of that, well, here comes the scene stealer. I don't have anything else to say except for look at this.
Oh,
hey, buddy.
Hi. Oh, how cute.
Hey. Say hey to everybody.
Hi, buddy. Everyone, this is... Oh, my goodness.
Good morning.
Hi, little...
Can you wave?
Can you wave?
Good morning.
Can you sing for us yet? You give us a high note? Are you
He's actually pretty quiet. I think I speak enough for all of our family and sing enough and make loud noises enough that he's not so loud.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Oh, thank you everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for your kind words. And Richard, hey, Richard's on. He's a little shy.
He's so cute. Oh my gosh.
Oh, thank you, Richard. Thank you, Eliana. Thank you, Bonnie.
Were there any
Thank you,
questions
Susanna.
in the chat?
Oh yeah, were there any questions in the chat that came up that we could get to?
Questions, just a couple of comments like thank you so much, that's great to hear, you know.
Nicola, really, ciao.
Is really amazing to hear, and it's I think very inspirational what you guys have done together in order to create the life that you have wanted, the family that you have wanted, this little precious one. Oh my goodness. And I'm so grateful for you guys for joining me today. Bonnie wants to know, have you ever thought of a gig to prioritize a family holiday? Other way around.
Yeah, you had to cancel. You had to cancel the gig when I was like giving birth. It was like the day after or something. Remember?
Oh.
It was the Pearl Fishers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did have to cancel one thing. You know what? On the way out, I'll leave. Yes, I did have to cancel one thing, but I'll leave you with this: that if you sort of wait like I did to have children and get married and everything, you'll be in a financial position to make things happen. Like Irina's mom got married when I was in London. I think Jen, I might have been with you actually singing Bohème. I think it was when we were doing Bohème at Royal Opera House.
Yeah.
And I took a weekend to fly back, and I flew like on a Friday night, Saturday wedding, Saturday night. I left the wedding early to get back on Sunday for a show. Anyway, so basically you can eventually make your life what you want it to be because you have the financial means to do so, because you've succeeded. And actually Christian Van Horn gave me this advice. He said, if you have children young, you got to put a lot of effort into those kids because you haven't made enough money yet to be able to throw money at the problem. If you have children older, you have a bit more finance, but you're getting a little older and you don't have the energy anymore. So you can sort of throw money at the problems. And so his advice to me was, if there's a problem, throw money at it.
Throw money at it.
And that's, yeah.
I love that. Well, on that note, you guys,
Yeah.
let you go on with the rest of your afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. I know that everyone
I was
fascinating.
I was so happy you asked us. I was so happy that you had us. I mean, we want to say like about having it all is that there's never a destination with that.
Absolutely.
And that it's constant and it's ongoing and it's a constant process. So it's never like we made it. We're constantly working at it, you know?
Everything with singing, even
there's no destination with this, you know? And the thing is like as a singer, we have to have, okay, sorry, the wheels are falling off here. But as a singer, like, I mean, in college, just think about everybody in college when you were singing and you're working so hard, and then you go to grad school or doctorate or young artist program. Basically, everyone's calling as hard as they can and working as hard as they can, taking every opportunity they can to get as far as they can. Now we get to this point where, Jen, you said something about someone that's successful and who's made it and is like having a great career. I don't feel that way. I don't feel like I've made it. I don't feel like I'm feeling, don't get me wrong, I'm happy with where my career is, so I can say that, but you never feel like you've made it. Because that scratching, that effort, that drive that you have, it never just leaves because you got a good gig all of a sudden, or you got a bunch of good gigs. That drive never goes away because that's the drive that got you there, and that's the drive that will propel you into the future gigs that you will have also. So once that drive goes away, you should retire.
Yeah, I will confess I feel exactly the same way. I never feel like I did it. I am not at any place where I want to be completely. I want to keep going. I have more work to do. I have more growing to do. I have more houses I want to sing in. I have more roles I want to learn. It's never over.
Yeah.
And I love that you guys still have that fight and that motivation.
Yeah.
Now you have.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm working. Yeah, I'm working harder now. Oh, you're welcome. I'm working harder now than I ever have worked in my career. You know, it's like it just gets harder. It just gets harder, everyone out there. So, you know, if this is what making it looks like, then you got a lot of work ahead of you.
You're doing great. Thank you guys so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to
Irina.
He's so cute. We love you.
Ray.
Thank you.
Miss you all.
Miss you so much.
When this is back to normalcy, you come here and we'll talk about being in things being in a process and ongoing. We have a pizza oven and we are constantly working on just the right crust.
Just the right pizza crust.
That's
our just the right cook on our pizza.
That's a great motivation.
Yeah.
I love it.
We want the final product.
Well, we want to help you on your journey.
Oh,
Yeah,
you guys
absolutely.
can please. Well, we are happy to have you come and taste test. Thank you guys.
Yeah, and thank you everyone in the chat for all your support. Eliana, Bonnie, Anastasia, Johnny Kaufman. Thank you so much, everybody. Solriza Soprano. Thank you.
Yeah.
Baharak, Barzine, Samuel, good to see everybody. Eliana, hey.
You guys on the Fort Worth Opera Instagram account in just a little bit so you can watch back if there was something that you missed or something that you want to watch again. Thank you, Irina. Thank you, Lucas. Fort Worth Opera very soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.